Oh, flip that with a step back. When I come around, try and kick back. It's that. Know that she into all of that. When I come round me, yeah, want to kick that. Little one-liners, yeah, I know they could take that. Let me just wait for the next drop. Wait.
11,201 square feet. So common parking ratio that we use, rule of thumb, 400 square foot. So right out the gate, is it a corner lot or is it an in-lane lot? Because that's going to change the parking ratio. So at 400 square foot, we're going to divide that, which is parking. Now, some people say it's much less, some people say it's much more. Let's do the math here. I've got 11,201 divided by 400. That equals 28. That means 28 for one floor of that space. 28 parking spaces. Now, we need the parking ratio. So the town ratio in Fort Lee is 1.8. That means that for every single unit, 1.8 in terms of where we're at, is quantified like this. If we have 28 parking spots at a 1.8 ratio, we do 28, 1.8. That gives us 15.5. 15.57 units, right there. So with that parking ratio, you can get 15.57 units, so you get 57% of a unit, which obviously we have to relatively base for. Most likely, that'll just be a 15 unit. Now, that's one floor of deck. So that's one surface or deck. What if I want to build more units? Well, is it in the zoning? This one is in a zoning. You can go as high as 8 floors. So really it's matching the parking ratio with the town's availability of yes or no with its master plan in this area. Seems like it is right now. So 15 units, if we multiply by 2 decks, we get 30 units, okay? That 30 units, we want to distribute very easily because if you saw the last video, you know the complexities and the cost associated with the developments. So the 30 units could look like this. We want to build 1, 2 decks, so deck. Now, what's the maximum floor ratio for stick? 4 that we want to do. We want to stick to that. So we got to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we got 30 units here distributed. What is that 30 over 4 floors? Well, that's 7.5 a floor. So maybe on the top you do a little bit bigger and you do 7 units here. And then maybe you do 7 units here. And then you go 8 and 8. Because the upper floors you got better views. So you get better square footage. So that's your 30 units, your builds, 1, 2, 3 floor of stick, 2 decks. Now remember the numbers. $40 a foot is what you got to hit if you build these 2 decks. And what is that for? That's for the interior apartments leasing. What does that look like? 1,000 square foot apartment at $40 a foot equals what? 40,000. We're really going in today because we're good at math, path in the math. But that 40,000 over 12 months per month for a lease rent would be 33 a month. That's how these buildings get built and then annualized. Now, what do? We take that on a price per square foot, but these are the rules of thumb. Now, let's go check out what this building looks like. We're going to go into the field and see how does all this math actually equate, right? Can't be all up here. It's got to be down there, and it's got to be out in the field. So we're going to double check everything, but these are rules of thumb that you can take right now and implement into your business and know whether or not that site is attainable for development. Short, quick rules of thumbs will get you more efficiency, more impactful, and make twice as much money doing it by just knowing this. So let's take a ride. All right, so I'm excited. I got a new cup holder for my mug. Yeah, thing looks wild. So we are heading out to Old Palisade Road in Fort Lee, and we are about to check out a very irregular property size with amazing architectural and engineering that can be had because you're building it right on the cliff. And that right on the cliff means you get to build a beautiful product with skyline New York City views and some really intricate amenities and some packages for these residents. So it's going to be super cool. Here's the thing. We got to figure this site out today. This isn't one of those. This is a to be done. And we're doing it with an as of right in an R7A zone, which allows up to 8 floors. So we got to nail the parking ratio on this, understand what the build economics are, and find out which one is the best path for a developer. Get these things into a position that somebody can get clarity. This way they can pass the baton with ease, and we can get these things into ultimately the consumer's hands, built for the community, advance the streetscape, and Trelia has, boom, done it again with another community. That's what we're doing. So this one has 2 different properties. So technically, 107 Old Palisade is one site. The other one that's contiguous next to it, which means it abuts it, so you can continue the land, make it one development, is 45 Main Street. Now, this property right here is going to require a lot of site work and really good excavation and understanding of engineering. So that's going to be key for whoever does ultimately put this site into motion. So we're going to check that out and understand it today. This way, we can get clarity around it.
What's one thing you look for when you receive a development site?
So one thing I look for when I receive a development site is there other developments around it? In this one, there's a ton. And Mill Creek just put up a 200 plus unit directly next to it, which is a great foundation to lead because it sets the market tone. Now it's got great amenities, a totally Class A building, packaged to the nines. So if you build something even similar, somebody's gonna say, I can live here, or I can live here, and this one's more affordable. You price them, 15% less than what those units are to make them compelling, and you fill them immediately. And what we see people do all the time is that they stack these buildings, make them so unattractive, warrant tenants away. 6 months later, they don't have them. And I scratch my head going, if you allowed the plan to work itself out, you would have been on round wheels already, stabilized the building, and been off and running with an amortized loan, could sell it. So that's what we're fixing. That's what we want to make sure. Give people clarity.
It comes like a site. Now you're on the site.
Yep.
What are you looking for? Like, what are the things that appeal?
We look for whether or not we have to do 1 deck or 2 decks. If there's 2 decks involved, it's becoming a more egregious build, and it's whether, do we want it, is it in a marketplace like that? Because you have less buyers. So what we want is we want something that there's a lot of buyers, especially the nationals, and things that'll actually progress and advance the community. Having a 1 building that's got an extreme unit count stuffed on 1 property, guys, we've all seen it in the neighborhood. Nobody wants that. So what we want to find is the right fit. So we want to see, is it 1 or 2 decks? Is this a townhouse project? Is the second? Is seeing which one it would be first on those. And then the third thing, which is this a corner lot or not? Because those 3 factors right there are the biggest items that you're going to need right out the gate. It allows you to warrant your time further instead of waste your time on something that's not real. What we want to do is value it. Is it accurate? Is this accurate? R7A zone is accurate. We're going to pull up. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to just park right over here where it says no parking, because this bad boy right here, we are going to make as a go and show. I mean, we here right now, if you can see, we got development after development. Look at how big this one is right here. And look at this big behemoth right here, right on the cliffs. You got great views, skyline city views. That's what people are coming for. Robbie, don't get hit with the car while we're filming. So we're going to go over here. We're going to do a safety. So when we check out this site, you're going to see this is the roadway towards it. as we can tell, it's asphalt, but we got topography, so we got to make sure that we understand that. So you see these white vans over here, that white van? That's the site right there. Because look at this. We can build it sick. Look at these, the retaining walls. You build them with these things right here. You see these piles? That's how you build podium. These are all holding it up. They're concrete piles, massive ones. They hold up the foundations. Build the building from that point. They might have shoring, retaining walls, all different sites, but this is what we're talking about. So, you see that big Mill Creek project right there? Things a sexy beauty. We want to build right next to it. We want to position ourselves. So, right here, you can see this L-shaped lot, and one lot here with the second lot, 45 Main Street. 107 Old Palisade, 45 Main Street. Together, they could be one development. So, right here, you have an L-shaped lot, about 6,200 square feet, 5,000 square feet connected to it, 11,201 square feet, right? So now we're determining, do we build this thing sky high? Do we build a little bit lower and make it a nice, easy development? How do we go about it? And that's what we're determining. So remember, path in the math theory. We got to lay it out with our hands and put it on paper. We got to understand, what does it look like? What's the town's flavor? Do they want to see a big site? Can we contact zoning and see what they're looking at? Now, it's allowed for an R7A use, which allows up to 8 floors, but it's a parking ratio. So if we can fit X amount of parking, we can get X amount of units. If we know X amount of units, we can say each unit's going to be roughly this amount of money. We start creating an income, a rent roll based around that. Then we have obvious projected expenses. Keep it simple, guys. Just do 25% as your standard, and boom, you got a net operating income, which allows you to value the building. And that's what we're doing right here. Trelia, creating tomorrow's neighborhood today. And that's what we're creating all throughout northern New Jersey and New Jersey alike, and ultimately into other states as we pour through. But today it's getting cold, so let's run.